World Financial Group offers entrepreneurs from all backgrounds the opportunity to start their own business on a level playing field. Dr. Jana Woodhouse, receiving the WCM Wall Street Pioneer Award by the United Black Wall Street of America, Inc., is one of those entrepreneurs.
I see WFG and TFA as a place where African Americans with an entrepreneurial mindset can flourish. And the bonus, we help families and serve the communities across the country.
To learn more about us, go to worldfinancialgroup.com.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
She was told that she couldn't play with the boys. She was told that they were too big, too rough, too strong. She was told to give up her dreams and move on. She was told to just be pretty, be quiet, be a lady. She was told that women had to stay on their side of the court, stay in your lane. Playing and competing with men was insane. She was told that men and women would never be equal. Dreaming like that would only be linked to your mind, to your soul. She never listened. She knew that their thinking was old. She is magic. She is the definition of spirit. She is what champions are made of. She is magic.
Greetings and welcome to Access Wealth Nation with Dr. Jana B. Woodhouse, giving you that checkup from the neck up, making sure that you've got a mindset that goes with that financial journey that you're on. And so, of course, we're broadcast through Soul City Network and WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem. Had a little snafu there for a minute. Anyway, welcome. We're going to have an exciting discussion today. And one thing is that's so important, financial literacy, for some reason, well, I have my ideas, but for some reason is not taught in the schools. And now there's like 27 states that make it mandatory for financial literacy to be taught in the school system, but it's not useful. They're teaching them how to balance a checkbook. We don't even use checkbooks a lot this year, during this time. And it's just not the things that they need to know about. So before we get started, of course, I do my due diligence is that for those of you who would love to have a plan or a discovery call, please feel free to call us at 646-375-2121. Now, why do we call it a discovery call? It has to do with these books. Now, we have a series of books now, and I'm thinking about doing something with these series to offer it to folks. But there's the How Money Works, Stop Being a Sucker book. And then, of course, we have the How Money Works for Women, Take Control or Lose It. And then we have Change Your Literacy, Change Your Life, which is true, your financial literacy. There's also another book that's an ebook right now, called How Money Works for the Next Generation. And that's another one. Got to make sure that you're moving forward, you're doing something or you're not. And therefore you have that law of cause and effects, which basically means that if you don't do something now, you'll pay for it later. So we don't want that to happen. And so if you're interested in getting the book, one of those books, or getting the ebook, then you just have to contact us at anagenterprisesinc@gmail.com. Yes, it doesn't cost anything. Just the fact of having a promise that you're going to read it. So send us an email. If you'd like the physical book, we need to have a physical address. If you'd like the ebook, then just by sending us a number that we can send the book to you, the link to you, we will do so. Of course, you can reach us at anagenterprises.com, or you can go to wealthwave.com/Jana B. That's Jana with a J. Jana, which is JANAB, at wealthwave.com. Take a look at, I know some of you have been looking at the site, especially that because it's an educational site. It's a site to allow you to understand how money works, and it has some cute information for you. So does the book. You know, some people don't want to read a book. Well, this book is the #1 financial literacy book out there on the market. Yes, you can buy it on Amazon, but why buy it on Amazon when all you got to do is link with me and I'll be glad to give it to you for free, as long as you promise that you're going to read it and let me know what your thoughts are. That's all you have to do. But it's up to you. You know, that's part of your financial journey. How do I not spend so much? You know, oh, yes. And so we've got leverage credit recovery. My brother Tyrone Glover, he does his show on Tuesdays at 6 p.m., sharing his knowledge and his energy and wisdom on credit and how it works and what you need to do to not fall into the sucker cycle. That's what we call it, the sucker cycle. And the sucker cycle is we start to buy subscriptions, we start to use credit cards, and we use it in the wrong manner. So you should tune into his show at 6 p.m. on the Soul City Network, back at the same station where I am. Okay, so that's one thing. Also, we're on a mission to eliminate financial illiteracy. And that's what Access Well Nation is all about, is how do we eliminate. So I have partnered with a few of my associates, and every Wednesday at 7 p.m., and you just have to send us an email at anagenterprisesinc@gmail.com, and we will send you the link, and it's a link to a class. There's 5 classes on the simplicities and the elements of financial literacy. So there's a little system that we're taking place now. We have what is called the financial literacy quiz. So what we ask people to do is take the financial literacy quiz, and then after they take the quiz, it's 25 questions and about 10 minutes of your time. See how you score. You don't have to tell anybody what you scored, okay? It's just for your own knowledge. Then if you take the 5 classes, and they're rotating classes, so the classes start off with the foundation, and it goes on to insurance, and then it's about short-term investing, long-term investing, and then last but not least is to pull together your financial strategies for your future. Simple classes. And after you take the 5 classes, guess what? You get a certificate from the instructor plus the 2 authors of the book, How Money Works, Stop Being a Sucker. Okay, you get that. Then we ask you to take the quiz again, and then just see how you scored. This will let you know whether you've learned something. Yes, here we go. financialliteracyindex.com/Jana B. It's that simple. Log in, take the quiz, then start to take the classes. Now, they've started the first one this week, so you'll get class number 2, but you pick up class number 1 later on. We also have a 6th class, and the 6th class is usually on something that we think might intrigue you a bit, similar to learning about how Social Security really works, or what you would do to build your children's education. Some simple things, are you really ready for retirement? What's your retirement number? These are some of the things that are covered in the class, but also will be even magnified in a separate class. So this is just taking classes. And guess what? You can do this in your pajamas because no one will know. You're online, and it's on a Zoom. And just to sit and listen. And if you have questions, you're allowed to ask at the end of the session. The classes don't last long. They're only 30 minutes. And so if you'd like the link, reach out to me at anagenterprisesinc@gmail.com, and we will be glad to share the link. And then you can register and get going with your financial journey. That's what I see this as. Life, they say all the time, is a journey. Well, this is your financial journey to help you to understand how money works. And then we've created a session by which you can even monitor how well you're doing. And again, sometimes we need to hear things more than one time. It's okay. The key is to do something. You can't complain about what's going on if you do nothing. So you've got to do something. So today is one of those days that I am so excited that I have a special guest. Yeah, I know I say that all the time, but this one is a real special guest. This past Saturday, I think it was, yes, we went to I guess you would call it, well, I'm going to have her tell what it is like. But this young lady has really dedicated her life to bringing financial literacy to our children. See, they say in an African proverb, if you educate a man, you've educated a person. But if you've educated a woman, you have educated a nation. Well, in addition to that, that nation has to build. And how does it build? It builds because the children have learned, and then they start to act. And now you have a true tsunami take place in education. So that's our dream is to bring financial literacy to at least 20 million people in this country. And it can be done. And once that, can you imagine? I tell folks, just imagine where people really understand finance. Now, if they don't act on it, that's their business. But it's not for the lack of knowledge. That's what's important. And so today I have a wonderful guest who has put together a wonderful book. Another book available. This one you have to go on Amazon and get, and she'll tell you other ways to get it. But it is My Savings in 12 Envelopes. They say it's for children, I understand, but I have had a few adults come to me and try to snatch my book, and they've used it. And so there's a lot going on here. So with no further ado, I'd like to bring forth my dear friends and a sister from another mister, Erodita Anderson.
Hi.
Hi there.
How?
Welcome to Access Wealth Nation.
Thank you. It's so good to be here with you again this evening.
Yes, I'm so glad. So what would you call what did we do on Saturday? Because it was so exciting. These were children who are entrepreneurs. I loved it. And I almost lost my entire surplus. I put my little budget together. I almost used it all because everything they had was just wonderful and exciting. So tell us a little bit about the event that was on Saturday.
Yes. So on Saturday, I hosted the second annual Power to Plan Youth Entrepreneurship Fair. Basically, we had young entrepreneurs between the ages of 6 through 18 showcase their businesses and products to the community. So we had young people who created their own scrunchies, bracelets, necklaces, crochet items, chocolate covered strawberries, candied grapes, so many things you could think of. And it
Don't
was
leave my
really, really an
candle out.
incredible experience. I'm sorry?
Don't leave my candle man.
Yes, candles as well. Yeah, it's difficult to name all the products. So for those of you wondering, we'll have to make sure we see you next year and over the summer.
That is so awesome. So now, did these children go through any type of program before they came to your session? How did it work?
So some of them did. Actually, I was inspired to create this fair by my participants. So I go out to the community and I work with schools and other organizations who contract me to facilitate youth financial literacy and entrepreneurship workshops. And you would just be so surprised. I kind of go through like a business plan with them with 6 steps. And I give them time to kind of flush out their ideas and bring their business idea to life. They write out their business plan on, a worksheet, and then they have an opportunity to pitch their ideas to the judges. And then I usually award them a small grant to, whoever kind of just flushed their ideas out and had the most impactful pitch. And it was just incredible to see how many ideas the young people came up with. In the beginning of the workshop, they say, oh, yes, I would like to start a business, but I don't know what. And then by the end of the workshop, they're pitching and then they win. And it was just incredible to see. And I said, well, what if these young people actually had a space to bring their ideas to life, to showcase these products and services to the community? And literally within, I would say, maybe 4 or 5 weeks, I planned my first fair. And before we even left that one, the kids and the families were asking, oh, well, when will you plan the next fair? And it's a lot of work, and I didn't really anticipate it at first. But because the response was so great and the young people were asking about the next fair, I said, you know what? Maybe I can just do this once a year.
That is really awesome. So, I had a ball, and we had the CEO and founder of Soul City, and he took and interviewed each one of the young people. And so we would love to, I'm putting it out there, to have them on so that people can see the genius of our children. The fact that you're doing this is, it's interesting. Harvard started teaching classes and creating a session and a degree in entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. So if Harvard can do it, you have already started it. You have done it. And you've got it where our young people have a structure. We teach our children through the time span. We have taught them to go to school, get a good education, get a good job, work for 30 years, retire, and you got to watch and get half of the pay that you were going to get. It's a hard bill to sell, but that's what we teach. And I think we need to now teach more on how to set up that golden idea that you have. I truly believe every single one of us came to this earth with a mission. I know what your mission is. You're bringing forth that education and that energy to our community to blossom. It really makes me think of Black Wall Street. And on Black Wall Street, there was 600 businesses, and $1 lasted in the community 3 to 5 years, as opposed to the 2 seconds that we have now. So it is a wonderful opportunity. And that's the thing. So I know you have the plant, power to plan. I keep switching it up. I want to put plan to power, but it's power to plan. And I just want you to tell a little bit about how you got started, because I know it started with your students.
Yes. So I, again, was inspired by my students because I am a school counselor during the day. And I am a strong believer in not really pushing students out of the school building if they're not ready to leave. And I think, it was this cohort of students who I was really connected to. They never wanted to leave the school building. So I said, well, if you guys do not want to leave and you want to hang out in my office, I'm going to talk to you about financial literacy. I would log into, my student account so that they could see my loans. And I realized how little they actually knew about being financially literate. And so I just started talking to them, and we would just explore different topics regarding financial literacy. And they were intrigued. They would ask questions, and then they stayed longer. More students started coming to the point that, I was even told by other staff members my office was too crowded. So I said, come on, let's move to a classroom. And then it kind of just turned into almost like a daily and then a weekly thing. And I said, well, you know what? Let me actually develop curriculum for this and actually have ideas that I want to move through with the students. And I think with me, I always say my advice is, even if I'm doing something which is impactful, I feel like it's not enough. And when I realized how little they knew, but they were eager to learn more, I kind of just combined everything that I was teaching my students after school. And that's how I came up with my savings in 12 envelopes. So each envelope explores one fundamental financial literacy topic, whether that is budgeting or the 5 factors that impact your credit score, how those credit scores impact your loans, and how much more interest person A pays versus person B based on their credit score, how to manage credit responsibly. So if you're only paying $30 a month on your $1,000 credit card bill, that $1,000 purchase with interest becomes $1,600. That's how the banks make money off of us. That's how we stay in debt. And this is something that could be gifted to any family, any student, and a young person, to kind of just open that door about financial literacy, even if I'm not there. So I can still hopefully, get the word out to families and other young people, even if they don't have an opportunity to necessarily take a session with me.
That is so awesome, though, that, it's just like I think of, as you were talking, I thought about some of the richness that is imparted by our educators and counselors. And I thought about Barney, Barney, that purple drag, that thing, that dinosaur. And it was a teacher who was trying to convey information to her students. And she created this purple sock. So here you got your 12 envelopes.
Yes.
And like I said, is in some ways it's not just for children. So how does one get the book?
Yes. So you can visit my website, power2plan.com, and order directly from the website, or based on, where people are located. I also do in-person pickup. I also have the Power to Plan Student Planner, which was the #1 new release on Amazon when I first published it. That has a savings template of $1,000, a savings tracker as well, and then pages just for students to stay organized. And I should also mention the envelope system has 3 savings templates. It has $1,000 savings template, $5,000 and $10,000 as well. So we want people in our community to see, hey, you know what? It is possible to save this $1,000. Even if you want to save $5,000 or $10,000, you can see that it's possible.
It is. All you have to do is have the desire and the dream and the focus, And the other thing is, I tell folks, I do this. Don't do the dip. No dipping. No dip. Because that's what people do, is they start to save and see the money. And then it's like, okay, it's good to have an emergency fund. It's one way which I promote folks in getting it by doing it little bit by little bit. There's an African proverb there that says, is how did the ants eat the elephant? Little bit by bit, but we can't get frustrated and start dipping. Leave it alone. But that's awesome. So people also can bring you in on workshops to do for students, which is very powerful. So tell us a little bit more about that. Now, that's like an expansion to the book.
Yes. So through the development of My Savings in 12 Envelopes, we have a 6-part workshop series that kind of just takes students on a journey through financial literacy. So we discuss, again, like budgeting, saving. We also focus on post-secondary readiness. So if students are in need of like resume design or interviewing skills, planning SMART goals, we also explore that as well. So students in various schools and different organizations reach out to us for us to come in and facilitate workshops.
Oh, that's awesome. So it's not just the financial side, it's the get ready for life side, I'm hearing.
Yeah, so we try to focus on the entire student. So we want to explore financial literacy with them, entrepreneurship, and then also setting post-secondary goals. We want to make sure that our students are prepared for interviews and, prepared to just tackle the world after school. I think, so many students are qualified for jobs, right? But sometimes they're just not prepared. And literally, sometimes they're nervous, and just doing like a 30-minute session of just like role playing, introducing them to some topics which may be asked during the interview, just makes them a little more comfortable, a little more confident. And then they can nail that internship, nail that job that they need to prepare them for the future.
Oh, that is so awesome, because that's one thing that is definitely missing. I remember when I worked in corporate, didn't stay long, but when I did, I would see young people come in and I just pull them to the side and say, how to dress for an interview. The one young lady I never forget, I was doing financial planning in a bank, and she came in with every color of the rainbow in her hair. Oh. And I was like, okay, let me pull her to the side, and she needs to get like violently ill right now so she can go and come back. And I taught her, she did do it. She came back, but she needed to take some time to get all those colors out. But those simple things, someone who has, the fad of tattoos all over their bodies, you don't have to show them all, because people do judge. And when they do, you might not be on the good end of that stick. Definitely not. So with these workshops, this is great. So how long do these workshops is it like tailored type of workshops?
Absolutely. So all of our curriculum and meeting time can be tailored based on student, school, and organization need. However, generally, the workshops are about 45 minutes to an hour. However, our entrepreneurship workshop usually can run maybe 60 minutes to an hour and 15 minutes, hour and 30 minutes, depending on how many of our young entrepreneurs choose to pitch to the judges. So sometimes we have like a brave group of 3, and then I think I love to see it where students are inspired to pitch based on people who pitched before them. So sometimes we may have 5 students pitch, and we don't want to rush them or anything. So that one can take a little longer, but outside of that, generally about 45 to 60 minutes.
And they're pitching, they don't do a business plan or anything. They just talking about what they want to accomplish or what they're thinking of accomplishing.
Yes. So in the entrepreneurship workshop, we actually explore 6 steps you can take to flush out the ideas of your business. So they're provided with worksheets. We kind of go through everything that you need to kind of start your business. You know, who are you marketing to? Who's your target audience? What problem does your business solve? And then we give them time to kind of flush their ideas out on the worksheet. And then that's what they kind of use as their guideline to pitch to the judges.
Wow. Okay. And then after the judges, they narrow it down to one person, or is it?
Yes. So it depends. Usually I will award a grant from my organization to the person or the student who has the most impactful pitch. And then sometimes the school or the organization will match my grant amount. And then we can choose a second or third place winner. So I've applied for grants to, you know, be able to increase the amounts that we give to our participants, you know, who have the most impactful pitch. And then also so that on my own, maybe, you know, I could even select a second, third, fourth place winner, as many as possible. But, you know, of course, it's dependent on funding.
And that's it. We just have to get together and this is where we need to put our money.
Yes.
I truly believe, I know we've got to do the sports. I was not a sports person. Okay.
Me either.
But I was definitely wanting to know how to do business, you know, and how to create a business. And if I had this, I probably would have started even earlier than I did, because I started at age 19, but I would probably started a little sooner, because it was always something, you know, if we've got those flames, those little fire buds that are out there, if we can fan that flame and get them to participate and have some structure, because the children that I saw on Tuesday had structure, but also they had some very powerful parents.
Yes.
And that means a lot when I enjoyed listening to the parents, you know, and they were creative. Some of the kids were quite creative about what they wanted to present and how they presented, you know. And so were there repeat students or children there?
Yes, it was so good to see. And, you know, I feel like in the moment, and because I am basically, you know, kind of organizing this on my own up front. Of course, I have the amazing help of my husband from start to finish. My niece was there assisting me as well. But like with logistics and things like that, I kind of think about it on my own. And I said, I wish I would have taken pictures last year and this year with my students who, you know, and my participants who came last year, so that through the years I could like show every year how they've grown and, you know, their businesses, and just kind of document that, because I think it would be really, really incredible to see. And, you know, I was there last year, but I think it would be such an amazing story, even for them to see, for the family to see, like how they've matured throughout the fairs. So I think that is certainly something that I want to do the next time around.
Yeah, that was awesome. And I know your grandmother, I was so great to meet her again, see her again. And she even said, I'm trying to remember, he is, I think, one of her grandchildren. He does the bracelets.
Yes.
Yeah, he got me out of 2 of those bracelets. But she even said, oh, he's gotten so much better with it. So I was like, well, I don't know how much better he could get, but it was really awesome. And just the fact that she could say that and see his change. And then I was impressed that the young folks, some of them had Cash App. You know, to be able to, they're in business. They really are in business, you know, and anything I can do, of course, to help them to structure themselves, because they can be structured and make a profitable business out of these ideas, you know. I know one of the young ladies, she had the strawberries, and she says, I stayed up all night just making sure that I had the cookies. And I said, oh my goodness, that's work ethic. Mm-hmm. You know, I just say to my audience, you've got to see. So it's done annually, right?
Yes, yes. It is officially an
Mhm.
annual tradition. And then we're in the works of planning something for this summer too. A lot of the kids were asking about something for the summer that day of the fair. And I just said, oh, I really don't know how I could get that done because I feel like it takes me almost a year to plan. But I think we will certainly have something coming up for the summer. So please stay tuned. And if you are interested in having your child participate in the fair, either in August or in April, please make sure you send us an email. You can also contact me on the website. Email is p2psavings at gmail.com.
That's awesome because we're going to try to see if we can weasel you into Harlem Week because that is the most active. That's where I got to first meet you in
Yes.
person was that during Harlem Week because they have this year, the focus is on children. And so it's an awesome. So yes, everybody stay tuned, get on the website, reach out. We'll be talking again to show what the possibilities are for us to help these children. Everybody complains about kids. But the thing is that stop complaining because summertime comes and they don't have anything to do. This would be awesome to work on their idea. There was the crochet young lady, the person who I thought it was so cute. She had the little scrunchies and stuff crocheted. That's work ethic. That's something, and that's a great, great deal. And matter of fact, I know her mom, and it definitely is an opportunity. While I see here is if anyone has questions, feel free to ask and join in. And see what's next on the horizon for the Power to Plan. And how did you come up with that name, Power to Plan?
Well, first I want to mention our young lady, Cute Crochet. She's actually facilitating a crochet workshop in Harlem as well. So I will have to get that information because I don't know if there's an age limit, but I want to join her workshop too.
Yes, that's awesome. She's teaching people how to crochet.
Yes, she is she's a little facilitator. I can't believe it. It's incredible. And as far as coming up with the name, it's so funny because my husband actually helped me to come up with the name. I don't know why. I just said I wanted it to be P2P. And we were kind of just like rummaging through names, like just kind of going through things. And I remember in the morning, he always says I have a squirrel brain, but I love him because he entertains me. And at this time, it was early in the morning. He was on his way to work. And I literally was like rambling in the house, just trying to get through names. And I know he probably thought, I'm going to be free from her because I'm going to the bus stop. And I said, nope. I walked with him to the bus stop. We just kept going through names. And then finally, one of us said like Power to Plan. And I was just like, that's it. Out of everything that we came up with, everything that was kind of close, I said Power to Plan. That's it. And it was perfect. And it's been perfect ever since.
That is awesome because that's what you're really doing is giving our young people the power to plan their future, to plan their financial freedom. I mean, it works. Power to Plan plus those envelopes. I got to tell on myself. When I first started working, and we did not have all this technology. Okay. And I remember they used to laugh. I worked at that time for the city of New York at the Department of Social Services. And it was a summer job. And all I did was every time they gave us a paycheck, because at that time you had a paycheck, a real check, and you cashed the check. But once you passed the check, you got cash. And my fear was that I was not going to budget properly. So I had envelopes. And when I saw your book, I said, that reminded me of my envelopes because I never forget the older women. They were like, what are you doing? I said, I'm putting away. Everything has a meaning and a place to go. And then, of course, I have to have my fund money. So that I paid myself first because I worked. And then I went and put in for the little bills, the telephones, and all of that stuff. So that's what the envelopes reminded me of my childhood or my youth, and planning, and it's always been something, a part of my heart to do. So since you're talking about doing something in the summer, which would be great, and then this came up, we did this. It was April, which is interesting, which is Financial Literacy Month. So it came on time perfectly for that. So what else is on the horizons? How are you getting to other schools or to other groups? There's a lot of young groups out there, I don't know if they're still in existence because they died down during COVID, but it was the Nile, that was part of Thurgood Marshall School. It would be something that I could see going into these schools. And I know that the Girl Scouts, they get a badge for financial literacy, but again, they do not teach what you're doing. And it's necessary. It's nice. I don't know why people think that children need to know how to budget a checkbook or balance a checkbook. There's what could it possibly, what else could they learn? They need to learn, like what you're saying, is credit, and how do you do that with the training of like the area of credit, since they're not young enough? Well, then I found out another secret. But they're not supposed to be old enough to have a credit card.
Yes. So, it's funny that you bring that up, because when communicating with my seniors, oddly enough, they are already receiving credit card offers, even though they're only 17. So these people are targeting our young people before they are even eligible for credit cards. And that's why I felt it was so important to teach them about handling credit responsibly, because as they transition to college or, just their post-secondary life, yes, sometimes times get difficult. Sometimes, you may not have the money. And then that is where they go into debt because they misuse these credit cards. And then it impacts their credit scores for the next 7 to 10 years. You never know. And I had a young person who told me, I opened up a credit card when I was in college. I didn't even know I had to pay that money back. So they were delinquent on the account. And, that's still on their credit report now because no one ever told them. And that's why, even though, they're not supposed to have a credit card, right? But they're receiving these offers and they're about to face the world where they're going to get credit card offers. Even when you go to the store now, when you're checking out in, Macy's or American Eagle, they're asking you, would you like to open a credit card today and save 30%?
And of course, someone will say yes. Yes.
Exactly. So we want them to know you can open that credit card, but here at Power to Plan, we're going to help you understand that if you do not plan to succeed, you plan to fail. And so we have to provide them with the necessary tools required to make informed financial decisions. That is our mission, and that is why we do the work that we do.
That is really awesome. And that's one of the things I think about when I talk to parents and tell them, do not use your children's social security number for another credit card.
Yes.
I said that on a show, and the announcer anchor said, that's impossible. No one really does. I said, oh, yes, for the cell phone, the light bill, they will use, and that's hurting your child. That's not helping. And if you messed up yours, why are you going to go mess up theirs? And so, I've said it to the level of, I've told children about, getting the annual credit report. I say, why don't you just throw your information in there too, while mom and dad are looking at theirs, see if they've decided to use yours.
Absolutely. You know, it is a huge disservice to the youth in our community when their parents utilize their social security numbers for the light bill, the cable bill, you know, and then it takes a long time to try to repair from that.
Yes.
So we really want to educate our youth and our families as well. We don't only focus on youth. We have parent engagement workshops. So after school, we speak with parents. We give them information as well. We facilitate workshops with only parents, with parents and students together, staff development as well. Because again, you know, it takes a village to raise a child, and we all can help this child make those informed financial decisions. But it also starts with the parents making informed financial decisions as well.
That's it, because a lot of times the parents don't know. And that's the thing is that there are many cultures that it's talked about at the dinner table. There's a lot of cultures that don't talk about money at the dinner. Some think it's a taboo for the children to hear about finance. And it's just the opposite. If they don't know, they won't do better. They'll do worse. And that's what we try to prevent, you know. And I think that what you're doing is phenomenal, because it puts us at a point of where there's hope. Hope for first of all, for these entrepreneurs, these up and coming entrepreneurs. And I'll put myself out there. If ever you need a judge for it, I'll be there.
Thank you so much. I will take you up on that offer.
Yeah. Because I would love to sit and listen to some of the ideas, and the greatest ideas come, from our young people. But the problem is that we shoot them down so quick before, they can get started, instead of trying to show them a way to make it happen. We have history behind this, the simple thing, and the hula hoop. That was an invention, an idea. There's just always these things that have come about that have turned into businesses, and you're never too young. I really don't think so. It used to be, but I said, shoot, even the Gerber baby had a business. Had the opportunity. So this is, I'm looking forward to it. And yes, I got a chance to meet your husband, and that's important. I'll put it out there. If you have someone who has a business or wants to start a business, number one, if you're the parent, get behind them. If you can't do anything more than stuff an envelope, send an email, do that. But if you have a partner in life that is doing business, get behind them. This young lady has a wonderful partner. And it was funny because he was doing the food and he handed me my plate. And I said, thank you so much, but who are you? And so he introduced himself, and then I said, well, we're here to do whatever we can to help her move forward, because we all have this mission. It's not many of us out here in our community that has the mission to help the children, to help the community. But you got to educate the whole, what you said, it takes a village. Yes. And that's a serious situation. Everybody in our community does not necessarily know about how money works. But we have all these little idiosyncrasies and things that we pass down through the ages. Like I had a client, and the story basically was the mother cut the end, when they cooked the pork, to cut the ends of the pork. And I was like, I heard this somewhere. They said, yeah, my mom always cut. They said, so why? I don't know. Don't you ask her why she cuts the ends of the pork? Ultimately, we found out that her pot was only but so big.
Oh no!
They thought it was something to make the meal taste better. It was only because the pot was. So we have this, just like in our communities with the check cashing places.
Mhm.
If you don't know any better, you think that's where you go to get your cash. It's not. It costs you to get your cash. Who does that? You know, it's again some of the fallacies of like we just finished tax season, which I tell everybody, hey, we ain't finished with it because this was a terrible season. But anyway, on that, we think getting a refund is a good thing. And if we don't get it, we get upset. Well, a refund is just means that you have taken all year long, put money away, gave it to the government, and they gave it back.
Right.
No interest. Who does this? You know, but it's what we've been taught. So we've got to knock out. So you get these kids at the beginning stage, and I'm going to come in the middle because I want to teach them about things like what FICA means, FICA, that's Social Security. What does it mean to fill out those forms? We need to know these things because most people don't. And then at the end, when they get to me and we're dealing with taxes, and they're like, how come I'm not getting a refund? Well, number one, you want a refund. Number two, you done got all your money all year long. Now you got to give some of it back. And don't do it with interest, you know. But this is good because I saw where you have, like you said, with the ability to save and the little path of ways per week. I don't think anybody can see that, but it's a wonderful piece on how to put some money away and teaching, you know, all sorts. Saving should be fun.
Yes.
Not sure. And we need to teach our children that building up and then learning how to invest is important. Now, do you have any investment components to your classes?
Yes. So we do explore investing as well. I think to just piggyback on something that you said earlier, I think it's important to make savings fun, right? And that's why I developed the envelope system because, you know, if you have to save money and you're kind of just giving it to your parents or you're putting it in the bank account, sometimes you can't always see, you know, your saving and you can't see your progress. And that's why I figured the envelope system would be fun for families and fun for kids because they get to seal the envelope. They have a deposit tracker there where they get to see how much they've deposited on a weekly basis, how much they have saved so far. So it makes saving tangible and makes saving fun for them. So absolutely, yes. And I am going to take you up on that offer as well to be a judge in 3 weeks. So
okay,
we will be in touch.
That sounds like fun. I enjoy that. You know, through the years, I've had my company, Hottest Poets, where we judged poets. So I would love to be able to do something that I really have a passion about, entrepreneurship. Yeah, take me up on it. Because it's so much fun. This has been such a fun situation talking with you. And I'm looking forward to working with you, you know, and helping because you always have to reach back. You have to. And the way we reach back is for our young folks, you know, because sometimes the ones up front, man, they done. And so, okay, yes, if anybody has any questions or comments, they're willing to share. I know a lot of you chime in after I go off the air, but it's okay because if you've gotten something and learned something. So give it one more time, Erodita, give them the website because also on WHCR, they don't see the tags that are coming up. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I can be reached at power2plan.com. So that is POWER, the number 2, PLAN, power2plan.com. And my email address is P2P savings. So P as in Paul, the number 2, P as in Paul, savings@gmail.com. And Dr. Woodhouse, I just really have to thank both you and Matt for coming on Saturday to support our young entrepreneurs at the fair. You know, I know so many people have good intentions. They always say they're going to come, and I look forward to seeing them. But you guys said that you were going to come, and you came. You came and you stayed. You guys supported, and it was an incredible and amazing experience. And I'm just so happy that
I'm glad that we came. I had a ball, and it was great talking. You know, I had my little favorites, but still, they were so set up and positioned. You know, and definitely, see, the other time you had an event, I was out of the country. Another time, I said, "Oh goodness, she keeps picking these times that I'm running out." But this time I was in New York, and I was glad to be a participant. And I tell anybody, go to that website and find out what the events are. You will not be disappointed. It is beautiful to see. Now, we have our children who are dancers, and that they're sports and athletic and all that. But think about the genius of the one who's going to really find maybe the next one that finds the cure for cancer. Yeah. You know, the one that is passionate about my little friend with the candles.
Yes.
I told you he impressed me, you know, because he wore his little tie jacket and was ready to do business. And he said, "I am an entrepreneur." And I just loved it. I just thought that it was such a wonderful. So I'm thankful that you invited us and that we came, and the food was great too. I understand that we had a community restaurant that donated.
Yes, a huge shout out to Manas for not only donating, but also donating and delivering the food to us, and also provided volunteers as well.
Oh, really?
Yes. Oh. And the space where we had everything, Thompson Studios on 125th Street, amazing accommodations. If you are planning an event or you need a space, Thompson Studios is the way to go. Manis, thank you again. The food was amazing.
It was wonderful. Had something for everybody.
Yes. we had mac and cheese, chicken, fish, salad, and rice. I mean, it was incredible.
It was, and I didn't know. Was that part of Manis that was on the street doing the bullhorn, or where did those kids come from?
Yes, those were our volunteers from Manis.
Wow, that was awesome, because they were real active, and they went up and down and got people upstairs.
Yes,
got them up the stairs. That's talking about really community.
Yes.
And that's what we need. We need, that's one of the things that Martin Luther King even said is that we have to build community. If not, we're going to have chaos. And we've got a little bit of chaos going on. It is wonderful. Keep us posted. We're going to talk again and see how we can help to expand and bring, I do a lot with adults on financial literacy, but, you're my go-to for the kids to make it happen so that they can learn. So we're going to get this together. And hopefully those of you who have organizations, you contact Erodita Anderson at power2plan.com and have her come out and do workshops. Now, she'll tailor it to what your needs are. But I shout out to the Girl Scouts, since I'm not an ex. You were once a Girl Scout, always a Girl Scout. And what is this amazing show? And what a wonderful and informative conversation. Okay, enjoyed it immensely. Thank you so much. And come back to Access Wealth Nation every Thursday at 6:00 and get your checkup from the neck up. So, Erodita, I just want to thank you so much for coming on board and coming to our Access Wealth Nation and enlightening our community. Thank you so much. And we got more to do. It's just the beginning.
Yes, it is my absolute pleasure. And thank you so much for having me. And I look forward to our continued partnership. Thank you so much.
Welcome, definitely. So y'all out there, we got missions to do. It is to become financially literate, not just for the adults, but for the children, because they're the next generation. So I say to you, I hope you learned something tonight, and keep on keeping on and keep a positive mental attitude. Have a good night.
Good night.
She was told that she couldn't play with the boys. She was told that they were too big, too rough, too strong. She was told to give up her dreams and move on. She was told to just be pretty, be quiet, be a lady. She was told that women had to stay on their side of the court, stay in your lane. Playing and competing with men wasn't the same. She was told that men and women would never be equal. Dreaming like that would only be linked to your mind, to your soul. She never listened. She knew that their thinking was old. She is magic. She is the definition of spirit. She is what champions are made of. She is magic.